What is going on, guys? We're back playing some more Surviving with Mekanism, and today's episode is going to be the last episode in the series. So as we always do with the last episode in the Surviving with series, we're going to be doing a little bit of like a base tour slash world tour, because there is a little bit of stuff outside this base right here that I do want to talk about. Just kind of reminisce a little bit, but before we do that, I'm going to do what we always do again with the end of the Surviving with series, where I'm going to ask you guys to go down in the comments and post what mod you'd like to see next. Now you can, comment, you can reply to comments, you can upvote a comment, you can do all of that stuff, anything to get your point across as to what mod you'd like to see next. And I know a lot of you guys don't comment, don't like videos, you just watch them to learn something, and that's perfectly okay. That is what they're here for. But if you're ever going to comment on any video ever on YouTube, you should comment on this one, because it's going to affect what I'm going to put out next. So if there really is something you'd like to see, I would urge you to go into the comments right now before you even watch the rest of the video and put it down there. These videos always get great feedback, so I know you guys will do great with them, and I will go through those, and the new series will be starting up soon. Now, one thing I want to cover again before we actually go in and do a little bit more of the world tour is a lot of you guys have made the suggestion that from now on I just tack mods on to an already existing world and just kind of go from there. And although I do think that's an interesting concept and we might eventually try it out, the problem I have with it is right now we've got this fusion reactor running. I will need no other power source, so the minute I get another mod in here, I could breeze through the whole thing without doing any work, and that just kind of makes it almost like a creative world where people are doing mod spotlights, and I try and do something a little bit different than that and show the logical progression, so this kind of defeats the purpose of that. So that's why we're not going to do that, but I do appreciate you guys suggesting that, and maybe someday we will try it out. So now I've just kind of been rambling on for a while, so I am going to start going around the world and talking about some of the different things. So over here we've got kind of like a general storage area. This has basically just been the storage area for all the things that I find pretty crucial when it comes to crafting machines. So that's pretty much every ingot we have, some diamonds, redstone. We used a lot of glass when we used steel. I kept the coal over here and the lapis too, just because why not? The lapis didn't really get much use, but the coal did get some use over in the infusers. So I did plan on making kind of like a bigger storage area, but this is all we got for it. The only really unfortunate part is that the bins required you to actually input stuff in a slightly odd manner, so that's why they had to be spaced out like this. But yeah, I actually really like the way this looked. It's unfortunate we didn't have another one there. I don't know why I never put one in, but this worked out really good for me. Then over here we've got the 5x ore processing. Now this has grown a lot since we obviously started out, where you just had the beginning ore processing where you'd have stuff like the crusher and the enriching factory and the smelter, and it grew all the way over here to where you've got the dissolution chamber and all of that stuff. It looks really cool. It took forever to do, and this is one of the highlights of Mekanism. A lot of people know that it's got the 5x ore processing that takes a ton of different stuff. It takes the gunpowder, it takes the thermal evaporation plants, it takes all of that to get. And so this was a ton of work, and we will go over where we actually get all the stuff from to process this later, because that is outside the base over in an area over there that some of you probably haven't seen. But I was super happy with this. We never finished upgrading all the factories to their highest, I don't even know what it's called. It's like the elite factories. We've just got the basic one, and then there'd be the advanced. But yeah, this did the trick. Really all that would do is allow for them to be a little bit more efficient, but I never ran into that issue. This was probably one of my favorite things to make in this whole thing though, and it took a ton of time to do. Then over here we've got just the metallurgic infusers. Then we've got the diamonds, the redstone, are these both what? No way. Okay, that was a little glitchy there. But we've got the obsidian, the diamond, the redstone, and the coal one. And I spent so much time over here. I should have automated this, honestly, but I never really did. It took me forever to put upgrades in here, too. I don't even know. This one doesn't even have upgrades in it. It's horrible. But, yep, we got that. We've got the osmium compressor right there. So all the machines along this wall. We've got the digital miner over here, and we can always go back in here and take a look at just some of the wiring. I never even finished automating this and bringing it over. It used to be connected so that it would drop stuff off over at the storage area, but I ended up stealing one of the... I think I stole a quantum entangloporter from over here and used it somewhere else because I didn't feel like crafting a new one, and I never finished automating that then after that. But we've got all this stuff going on over here, tons of different things coming in. We've got both quantum entangloporters. One is bringing in the stuff for the 5x ore processing, and one was bringing it in for Is that the purifying factory over there that it's bringing it in for? I don't actually know. I think it is. I think it's bringing it in for that. But we got all that. We've got the charge pad hidden back here along with the hydrogen gas tank so that I can actually charge all my stuff up back here. I didn't come back here very often, but basically every time I needed to charge up or refill the jetpack, which is really never, I'd come back here. And over here, these used to be automated, but like I said, the quantum entangloporter got stolen away, so I ended up just filling this in right here. It makes it look a little bit nicer, and we are left with that. So I guess I actually could have added in a couple more of these bins if I didn't automate it, but it has to be input in the top, which is a little bit unfortunate, so kind of makes it slightly difficult to make it look good if you don't have like chisel and bits and stuff like that. Then we've just got the chunk loader over here, so if I ever do go away to do some work, we've got that. The next thing that I want to talk about is over here. This entire wall is probably my proudest creation in this entire series. It really isn't a ton of mechanism stuff, but it helped out a ton, and this is how I got gunpowder. I know a lot of people would prefer to use like the gravel method of getting it, where you do the flint and the gunpowder and all that through machine processing, but I got all my gunpowder for this entire series through killing creepers in here. And this is basically just Etho's mob trap that is, I want to say it's roughly for us right now like 8 to 10 stories tall. It took me forever to progressively get it that high, and the rates are still not great because even though I went caving for a really long time, it might be nighttime out right now too. No, it's not. Okay, good. But it took me forever to build upon this. We started at 2 and we got probably up to like 4 the episode after that, and then I took a little bit of a break, and then one time I just decided I have way too much cobble to deal with. So we're going to go and we are going to get up to like 9, 10, and that is when we got here. No effective way to kill the baby zombies, unfortunately, but it does get us a fair bit. You can see we kill a couple witches over here, but really we killed a lot of skeletons. That's really it, aside from creepers that get stored over there, because we've got the HDPE sheets in here, which is where all of the zombie flesh is going. So I guess we can just bust through this wall and I'll rebuild it. But this whole process in here, again, it took forever to make. It goes into our induction matrix, which is very full. And I'm sure this is full, and I'm sure this back here is full. Yep, and this is probably, okay, that's not full though. But yeah, this is a very big process back here to deal with all of the stuff that we will be getting. And this basically just turns zombie flesh into stuff that can be used by the gas burning generator, of course, ethylene. And then some of it will go into the rotary condensator and be turned into those HDPE sheets, along with the substrate that we are getting, which will back up in this chest, but should just go straight into this right here, the pressurized reaction chamber. So I was pretty happy with that. We did have a little bit of an issue with the crafting formula not working, but we did end up getting around that and fixing it. If that hadn't been the case, this wouldn't have been automated crafting, and that really ticked me off for a while, but we ended up getting that done. So that's pretty cool back there. Not much to say about the induction matrix. It's pretty expensive to make. I didn't really upgrade it that much because I didn't really store much power there, but overall, one of my favorite creations that I've ever made in any of my series. This is pretty close to the immersive engineering series where I did the mob trap there and then did the mob sorter and then sent the zombies into a shooting gallery. I thought that was pretty fun. Okay, so the next thing we can look at, I guess we can look at one thing in this room as a whole before we go on. Getting this floor and the lighting set up took forever. This is one of the very few things that I did on stream before I came to school, when I was trying out streaming, before realizing I need a better CPU on my computer to do so. But getting the lighting in here and the lighting in the floor was so difficult, and people kept complaining. They're like, stop using torches, I hate the torches, I'm gonna rip my hair out if I see you use more torches. And I ignored it for a while, and finally I was like, you know what, I gotta fix it. And so we ended up using the glow panels on the wall. Turned out looking pretty darn good. So over here we've got the thermal evaporation plants. This one is like 13 blocks tall, and this is our brine plant. Is this even getting any power? I don't even think this is getting any power right now. That's great. Well, the quantum entangloporters always glitch out, which is a little bit annoying. And sometimes they'll stop transporting liquids, sometimes they'll stop doing power, sometimes they'll stop doing everything altogether. But this is where we got all of our brine from. It was pretty effective, never really ran into a bottleneck over here. This one over here is the one that we used to put all of the stuff into the 5x ore processing. So I want to say this one, yeah, this one's another brine across the way, but instead of being used for actual brine, this one is used for bringing this over to the 5x ore processing, and then that is turning into Gosh, what is it even turning it into? It's turning it into lithium over there. It's using it for something. I don't even remember. We'll have to go see. But this is another brine one over here. If we come down here, we've got the boiler over here, which is not being heated right now because we do have, I think it's a fuel wood heater back here. Yes, we'd have to put some coal in there, but this is what we use to get our beginning steam generation, and that would then bring it over and send it over here to the industrial turbine, which would turn that into a ton of power. Now, I don't know if we ever stored this power anywhere. I think, okay, so it's at 57 millijoules. Pretty small generation compared to the fusion reactor, but still pretty darn awesome. One of the cooler multi-block structures that Mekanism does offer, one of the few ones I should say. And this one right over here is a very, very small thermal evaporation plant that I just used to get some of our brine into lithium. So I put the brine over here. We get the lithium over here, and I could always make it so I either would put lithium in here and take out the rotary condensator, or we could use this to condentrate some of the lithium if we did need like the lithium, just like the regular lithium instead of liquid lithium, stuff like that. So that's this setup. It wasn't anything super big. We never really made a ton of lithium for stuff, at least over here. So I guess we can go over and check out the processing area next, and then we'll jump back and look at the reactor. So I will see you guys in a minute. Okay guys, so we are now over, the base is over there. You can't even see it because I'm not even loading in the chunks right now, but we are over here at the processing area. Now the reason I moved this area was because in the earlier updates, and I don't think it seems to be the case now, but a lot of these multi-block structures would cause a ton of lag when they were running. So I didn't want to deal with that during the videos, so I moved it over here to try and minimize lag, and I loaded the chunks so that we could have it running. But this is where we have the lithium production. This is where we're getting all of our fuel for the fusion reactor, and it's also where we're getting all of our, I guess you would say, we're running our 5x ore processing setup. So over here we've got all that stuff right here for 5x ore processing. The quantum entangloporters are bringing it from the base, and they're bringing it to the base right over here. This is the last step in it where we're getting our sulfuric acid that is going to be going into the dissolution chamber. But this is the pretty big process. I want to say the gunpowder should be coming out somewhere over here. I don't even know which part of it it's going into right now. I think it should be going in right over here. But yeah, so this is the 5x ore processing setup right here. Took a very long time to create. This is not as compact as you can get it, but if you guys remember, if you were there for the stream, that is when I moved this over here, and setting it up took a very, very, very long time. But I was pretty happy once I got it done because it did make the recording quality go up a ton over at the base, until a couple of Mekanism updates went by and they kind of worked out some of the kinks that were, causing some of these lag issues. But we've got the, I want to say that's as tall as it can get, thermal evaporation plant for the brine production, and then the lithium production, and then over here this is the tritium production, and that is what is feeding our reactor right now. So you'll be able to see this fluctuate a little bit. That's why it's not filling up, is because this is currently actually being sucked out into our reactor. And over here we've got our hard water being pulled out by the electric pumps, and we've got it turned into deuterium right here, and then we've got the deuterium being pulled out here. And this whole thing is being powered by solar panels. So we got the solar panels powering both of our plants over there. We've got them powering everything over here. And I thought it'd be fun to try out using the solar panels to, I think I just said solar plants. I don't know if I said solar panels, but I thought it'd be fun to use these because I used the wind turbines over at the base to start out. And I feel like the solar generators are a little bit more balanced, I should say, because they cost a little bit more. They're a little bit more annoying to make. But the only nice thing is they get a little bit more power generation at this level, I think, right here for the 200 kilojoules. The only annoying part is keeping it daytime. Now, the reason I really didn't mind keeping it daytime that much is just because I like to keep it daytime since I don't have everywhere lit up really that well. So when it's nighttime, the mob trap becomes a little bit less effective. So I try and keep it daytime as much as I can. And if you guys do end up playing on this world eventually, try and keep it daytime unless you want to replace this with the wind turbines. But this is all being powered from just that, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I think this area over here looks awesome, and I think it's a little unfortunate that it's not actually in the base or a little bit closer, but just because of actually, keeping the FPS really high, and the fact that my CPU is the bottleneck now and it's not my graphics card or RAM or anything like that, until we upgrade the CPU, going to try and space things out a little bit more. So I think what we're going to do now is hop back over. We'll take a look at the fusion reactor and we will call it an episode. Okay guys, so we're heading back right now. I just wanted to record this part to show you guys what the mob trap looks from the outside. So I think it's pretty funny because it looks pretty bad when you're coming up here, but also just so you guys can see how big it is. I believe that is like at least 8 stories tall. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's pretty darn big. Now out here is kind of where things started. I never really used this farm much, but it did get me a ton of potatoes initially. I think I used some of the bones that we got in our mob trap to make some of the potatoes, just speed through them and get like a stack of baked potatoes, and those have held me over for at least like 10 episodes at this point. Out here we have some of our beginning chests where you can see all of our random junk that we have and beginner stuff, and I do have some ore out here I never ended up processing. We've also got some deuterium and tritium production out here when I was first showing you guys how to make it, and then I realized I needed much more, and that is what resulted in that area that is over there. So now we can head inside and take a look at the fusion reactor, and that would be right down here. So unfortunately it's still hooked up. We can't just show the passive fusion reactor. It is currently hooked up to the very large process of being the water-cooled fusion reactor giving us steam, and this one is going to have stopped running right now because it's full, completely full, 3.2 gigajoules, and in here this one's also most likely going to be full if we come up here and look at the statistics. If we go in, it's got the hologram in case for some reason I ever break a block on it and quickly replace it, it'll still be able to reignite. If we look at the statistics, it is getting a ton of passive generation right now. The fuel is at an injection rate of 4, and it's sitting full power, full steam, full water, and is at roughly 300 millikelvin, megakelvin, not millikelvin, sorry, stuck in orgochemistry. And we've got our 200 megakelvin case. I always say millikelvin because, I don't know, I almost never use the mega prefix when I'm in chemistry or physics, so it's really weird. I've been using it in chemical engineering, though. I've been using the mega prefix in there, but milli is just a lot more common, so I'm sorry to anyone that just cringed when I said that for a second. I know that one always makes you guys cringe so much, but yeah, so this setup took forever. We got 30 pumps over here, which is a little bit overkill. It occurred to me that when I was testing it out, I didn't upgrade to ultimate pipes, and that was what the bottleneck was being caused by. So 30 pumps was overkill, 15, even that was overkill, so probably like 10 would be fine, but go big or go home. This is our fusion reactor. We're pulling in the deuterium and tritium over here. We've got the very slow charging laser amplifier over here that's not even plugged in, but this is how I ignited it. We've got the DT fuel that I might need to use down here to fill up like a hologram or something. And over here we've got the industrial turbine, again, that is the same size as the other one that cannot deal with this much steam. It ends up filling up completely, so it would need to be a little bit bigger, but I think this whole setup down here is super awesome. I love the fusion reactor. It's one of the best methods of power generation that Mekanism offers, or I should say that anything offers. It's the best one Mekanism offers, and is one of the best methods of power generation that any mod that I have ever seen offers. It's amazing. So one thing, if you guys are watching this and haven't seen this episode where we make the fusion reactor and do all that fun stuff with it, I would highly suggest you go check it out, just because I really do think it's pretty darn awesome and that everyone should use that in any world they have, because as it is always stated in the comments, it's pretty easy to get the DT fuel or to get the deuterium and tritium, so it's basically free power. Now granted, all power is basically free power, but whatever. Yeah, so that's going to be it, guys, for the episode. I enjoyed this series so much. I know it was only 20 episodes, and that is including this episode. I know a lot of you guys are going to be mad that we didn't get through every little block. We didn't go through the seismic reader, we didn't go through the flamethrower, but I just try and cover the big stuff now, especially because we've got the Avant 3 Let's Play going on where I can go a little bit more in depth, and hopefully have a series that goes on for, 50 to 75 episodes or more, and do all that stuff. So I'm going to try and keep these relatively to the point, get through everything that's important, and then we'll move on to the next mod. But I love this base. I love the series altogether. The channel has grown a lot since I started this series. I know you guys have really liked it. So hopefully you guys like the next mod that I pick. The video should be out in maybe like 3 or 4 days where we start the new series. And other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video and the series as a whole. If you did, please feel free to give it a like. And remember, if you have not already, go into the comments and either comment, reply, or like any comment in there that indicates what mod you would like to see. And hopefully that will be the one that I choose. Talk to you guys later.